there we are.
Well, hello. Hello. Welcome back to the next edition of Monday Night
Live.
Yeah, we're live right now
live.
with you. We do this every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central. We jump on tonight. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope on Twitter. We're here for the next hour to talk to you, to encourage you, to help you, and to answer your questions. We don't have a topic tonight. We're just going to do rapid fire question and answer and try to answer as many questions as we possibly can.
Right. Try to keep them short and concise.
Yep.
That way we can read them, because if they go over so many sentences, then it gets cut off.
Yeah. And I know your situation may be complicated, but try to just distill your question down into the shortest possible conglomeration of words you can.
And as always, every single time we get on here and talk to you, this is not medical advice.
True. And it says that in the disclaimer down below. We are going to try to help you, but none of this is legal medical advice. I am a doctor, Dr. Ken Berry, and this is a nurse, Neisha Salas-Berry. She's an RN with way too many years of clinical practice experience. I don't know how you got that many years in.
Started early.
You did. But we're here to help you. And we want you to understand that you have a right to good health. You have a right to the truth when it comes to medical and nutrition advice. You have a right not to be misled. You have a right to think for yourself and to do your own research. And we are huge proponents of all those things.
Yes.
And that may sound like revolutionary language, but I think it's common sense language. I think that we all should intuitively understand we have a right to have good health and not to be misled by the powers that be. So first, before we get started, I want to know where you're at in the world. What city, what state, what country? Where are you joining us from? As always, feel free to share this video. If you're on Facebook, start a watch party. If you're on Twitter,
is that even a thing? Do they still allow that?
I think they
Facebook
do.
changes all the time.
Yeah, I think watch parties are still a thing on Twitter and YouTube. You can share this video to any social media. You can share it to an email, to a text message, to a WhatsApp. You use WhatsApp?
No,
I don't either.
I don't use.
I think the majority of the world does, but we don't.
I don't use Snapchat either. Go Ravens, says Pizza Man.
Now, Pizza Man. Nothing political on here, Pizza Man.
Ravens.
No, I'm kidding.
What is that? That's the NFL,
It was a
man.
snarky joke.
We have Ontario, Canada.
Right, Ontario.
Jersey, West Point, New York. What's up,
I bet
West
it's cold in Jersey and Ontario.
Canada. We have a lot of viewers for Canada. We would love to come to Canada.
Yes. One day we'll meet all of our friends in Canada.
Canada. Several. Newfoundland.
Absolutely.
Is it Newfoundland?
Newfoundland.
Right? Newfoundland. Yeah. California, Virginia, San Antone, Florida. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for sharing this video. We appreciate it. And drop your short, concise questions.
Yes, we are ready for your questions. Any new business or old business? Anything going on?
You know, it's Christmas next week. I don't know if you guys know that.
Oh, Kim Howerton and Neisha have a holiday keto cookbook that has over 50
it's a lot.
Really delish yet keto recipes. The link's down here on YouTube, up there on Facebook. And also the PhD Summit is now packaged. You can actually purchase that and watch all the content, hear all the questions and answers. And there's a link for that. It's quite affordable. You might be surprised at how inexpensive it is.
Okay, let's see here.
Let's go. Let's answer some questions.
Oh, this is one maybe you and Dr. Kiltz have covered. I don't know for sure. Courtney wants to know, how long does it take for keto to affect egg quality in women? If you haven't watched, Dr. Kiltz, who is a CNY fertility specialist, did a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live. And if you haven't watched that, go watch it. But did you talk about that?
We did, to a certain extent. Your egg quality is pretty much determined by the time you are of childbearing age. But what's not determined is your metabolic health, your level of inflammation, your level of PCOS. PCOS is not something you either have or don't have. There's a spectrum. There's a bell curve, in other words. And so you may not meet the formal diagnosis of PCOS, but you could still have many of the complications of it without meeting the formal diagnosis. And so what I want you to understand is you have to make your body ready to carry a pregnancy. And in order to do that, you've got to have low levels of inflammation. You've got to have low levels of insulin. You've got to have lots of protein and fat in your diet. You've got to have lots of vitamins and minerals in your diet. Nutrient density, you really need to focus on that. And so the egg quality, you're probably not going to be able to change much, but the quality of your body and it's being prepared to accept a pregnancy and carry a pregnancy so that you wind up with a healthy, beautiful baby, that is very much within your power.
I have a little bit of insight into this. If you don't know about this book, I recommend you read it. It's called It Starts with the Egg. It's actually on Audible, so you can listen to it if you don't have the time to actually read it. And it talks about the things you can do. That there's some research behind this says it can help your egg quality a bit. Some of those are CoQ10, some supplements. I took those supplements when I was going through IVF, so I do recommend that book. And I think there's a lot of information in there, but like he said, it really is setting your body up to be able to carry the baby. That's a lot of it.
Yeah, if your body thinks you're sick through inflammation, or it thinks that there's some kind of weird food thing going on, or it thinks that it's a very stressful time in your life, your body's just not going to let you get pregnant. And if your hormone levels are not optimized, it's just not going to let you get pregnant, because that's a red flag that you may not be able to carry that pregnancy to full term. And so you've got to get all those things in order. And then your body's like, yep, everything, we've checked all the boxes, we can get knocked up now. And so you have to really think about that. You have to prepare your body. And it's easier said than done in some cases. But if you have all the knowledge, then you definitely can do it.
And follow Dr. Kiltz. He's on YouTube and Facebook.
Kiltz. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah. John wants to know, he says, greetings from Belgium.
Oh, nice.
Belgium.
I want to go to Belgium so bad.
What are the top 3 foods you would recommend to people to eat on a daily basis?
Yeah. What are your 3?
Eggs, preferably pastured if you can get them. Fatty cuts of meat, any fatty cuts of meat. So that can be brisket, ribeye, bacon, fat, and protein.
Yeah. Signal. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Sorry, apparently we cut out. Married together, fat and protein. So that means that it comes together, you know, and eat that part. And the third would be fish. Good quality fish roe, oysters, any kind of quality fish. And I'm not talking about crap tilapia, like good quality fish because of the omegas and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
What about you? What do you
I would say I would recommend 5 foods. It would be beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and salt. Plenty of salt.
Oh, yeah.
All those together, and try to get some organ meat at least 2 times a week, and that can be any liver, including cod liver or chicken liver or pork liver, any kind of liver mousse, Braunschweiger, any kind of liver source, I think is really going to help you with the vitamin and mineral situation, and the CoQ10 if you're able to get some heart into your diet. Now, if you want to throw some veg in with that, I think that's fine. If you don't, I think that's also fine. You're never going to develop a nutrient deficiency by eating nose to tail meat-based diet. But I'm not opposed to veggies. I'm not opposed to spices and herbs. Some people find they inflame them. I don't find that to be the case for me in most cases. So, but yeah, beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and salt, and try to eat some liver twice a week.
Tina wants to know, do beef organ supplements break a fast?
Maybe. They might have enough protein to raise your insulin. We love ancestral supplements. Their beef and their beef liver and their beef heart supplement. but I take them when I break my fast. And so I'll take them right when I start my meal. I think that the vitamins and minerals in there are probably absorbed better if you take them with food. I wouldn't take them on just an empty stomach if you're trying to fast, because there might be enough protein to raise your insulin.
Sarah wants to know, what is the best macro calculator to use? I think they're all fairly similar. I use Chronometer or Chronometer. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to pronounce it, but it's Chronometer.
Yeah.
Chronometer, Chronometer.
Yeah.
But we don't really track that often. I literally only do it for what I eat in a day videos for data junkies who just are really obsessed with how much do you eat, how much protein, how much fat, and they just really want to know what I eat. But for me personally, I don't do that. I don't feel the need to do that. But a lot of people really like Chronometer.
Chronometer, I think.
Is it Chronometer?
And none of the macro trackers are perfect. They all have errors in them, but they're mainly accurate and they're mainly correct. Keep in mind, we don't, like Neisha said, we don't really track. But I think if you're just coming to keto, ketovore, carnivore, any of this stuff, and you've never thought about nutrition in your life, and you're not a nutritionist or a dietitian, and you don't know how many carbs are in this, that, or the other, I think it would be good for a few weeks, maybe a month, to download Chronometer or one of the others and just track everything you put in your mouth, and it'll help you learn, oh, I had no idea that there was carbs in that, or how much fat was in that, or how much protein. I don't think it's something you should do forever on this way of eating.
You end up not having to do it because you end up eating the same things over and over again, and you just kind of know. What you're eating.
That's a great point Dr. Kiltz made. He said, all animals in the wild, they eat a very monotonous diet. Literally, their diet is made up of the same 5 or 10 things. And humans, if in the wild, we do that same thing. We go after the certain list of foods, and then if we're starving, we'll add stuff. But we've been trained in modern society, you should eat this huge rainbow, eat as much variety as you can. And that's really not necessary for optimal health. You can make a beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and salt. Literally, you could, and liver, you could do that for the rest of your life and never develop any deficiency and have very optimal health. So don't think that you should just eat this rainbow of thousands of different things. That's absolutely not necessary. And I think that's part of the reason that we've got star fruit from Mexico and mango from Colombia and pineapple from Hawaii. And there's all these huge cargo ships burning fossil fuels constantly, trying to supply us with this rainbow of food, when I think really the goal is to eat locally, find a local source of eggs, a local source of meat, local sort of veg if you want it, and that's your diet. You don't have to eat this huge rainbow colored cornucopia of 1,000 different foods.
Crystal wants to know, if you're on a budget, are regular eggs okay, or will those make you gain weight?
No, the cheapest supermarket eggs you can find are absolutely fine. Now, are good as pastured, delicately handled, that were grown by a little old couple who's retired and they have a farm, and those are better. Yes, they're better, but eggs are still 1,000 times better than anything else you could have for breakfast. Same goes for meat. Try to get the best you can afford, but if all you can afford is hot dogs and bologna and Spam, that's way the hell better than Doritos or Cheetos or Cheerios.
I always use Kelly Hogan as an example. If you don't follow her, she's on Instagram, she's on YouTube. It's My Zero Carb Life. And she basically lives off of McDonald's burgers. Obviously no bun. She's a carnivore.
Yeah, she just eats the patties.
Like a huge chunk of what she eats. And she's done research, and apparently McDonald's patties are fairly good beef. And so, don't feel like you have to go get the grass-fed panda massaged meats, because she has lost, I don't even know how much weight. Go look at her before and after picture. She's in optimal health. She is a bubble of energy. Yep. I mean, she exudes health.
She's had 3 babies while a carnivore, and she looks amazing. I think she's 60 or 65 or something. I can't remember how old she is.
She is not, and she would not appreciate
Just kidding,
that.
Kelly. Just a joke. No, we love her.
Oh my God. Anyways, don't get caught up in the fancy schmancy versions of things, because you can absolutely see benefits without doing that type of keto carnivore. Graham says, hello from Montreal.
Hey, Graham.
I've been getting bad acid reflux. It's been ruining my voice and vocal cords after starting carnivore. How do I fix this?
Graham, here's a part of the problem is your stomach is not probably used to making as much stomach acid as you need. Your stomach acid probably wasn't as strong. What's going to happen is your lower esophageal sphincter that should be closed very tightly when you've got a stomach full of acid is probably not as strong as it needs to be yet. Your stomach has ramped up acid production to deal with your increased meat intake, but your sphincter's not strong enough to keep all that acid out of your esophagus yet. If you need to use some apple cider vinegar or an occasional Tums or Rolaids or something like that, just for symptom relief, that's okay for now. But what you'll see is over the next few weeks, as that sphincter tightens up, you won't have that anymore. Now, if that continues, even though you're carnivore, you need to see your doctor, because then that raises the risk that you may have an incompetent sphincter, or you may have a hiatal hernia, or you may have some other anatomical problem that needs to be dealt with. Obviously, those things weren't caused by carnivore, but they may have been uncovered by your change in diet.
If you hear Beckett screaming in the background, he's not locked in the basement. He's with my mother.
He's in the garage.
He's having a really bad day. Poor Betty. Betty Spaghettio says, is it okay to start intermittent fasting in the beginning of your keto journey?
We think we've lost. Oh, we're back. Okay.
Or is it, I'm sorry. I started intermittent fasting 1 week after starting keto, so is that okay?
Yeah. It's if you feel the urge, if you feel the call to start fasting now, I think it's perfectly fine. Some people put off fasting until they're really fat adapted after a few weeks on keto. It will make it easier to fast for longer periods of time after you're fat adapted. But I think it's perfectly fine to start now if you feel the hankering, Betty Spaghetti. And also you need to look at changing your handle.
I think it's cute.
It needs to be Betty Salami or Betty Pastrami, or get rid of that spaghetti thing. It's too carby. It'll raise your insulin.
Hey, Katie. She wants to know, is beef tongue okay on keto?
100%.
Absolutely.
Any part of a cow, literally any part of a cow, except the stomach contents, is 100% keto and 100% carnivore. Any part of a pig, any part of a chicken, any part of a sheep, a lamb, a goat, a venison, literally any animal that has legs is keto and is carnivore, 100%.
Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Is going to be 60. He's lost over 110 pounds.
Boom, Bob.
He wants to know, how does he get rid of man boobs? Funny you should ask, because he's got a whole video on that.
I've got a video about man boobs. Now, what you may be calling man boobs at this point may be kind of saggy excess skin left over for where they used to have full boobs, and now you kind of have deflated boobs. This is where the intermittent fasting comes in. I've got a video about man boobs on YouTube, but I also have a video about how fasting and autophagy can help with loose skin, redundant skin, extra saggy, hangy skin after weight loss. Watch those two videos and that'll help greatly. In a nutshell, basically, when you fast for longer periods of time, longer than 18 hours, this process called autophagy starts to recycle both old and damaged cells, but also redundant, unnecessary cells. So if you've got extra skin that's not really helping you in any way, when you fast for longer than 18 hours, you're going to start to recycle and reuse those cells, and your skin will naturally start to tighten up. Now, it is a slow process. It's not going to happen in a week or two, but you'll notice if you take pictures now and then in 6 months, you'll notice a substantial reduction in the extra tissue that is now perturbing you.
Someone wants to know, I can't find it now, but do we still suck on salt rocks?
Yeah, where's your salt rock?
It's right there.
There it is, right there. Yeah, we're a big believer in Redmonds Real Salt. It is our local salt that is completely protected from ocean pollution and all other pollution. It has no nanoplastics and microplastics, and you can buy these salt rocks from them. And about once a day when I'm playing with Beckett, I'll pick it. We have just a little container of salt rocks in the kitchen. I'll hand him a salt rock. And some days he'll lick it and he's done. He doesn't want it. And that's his body saying, I don't need any salt. Other days he'll suck on that rock for 3 or 4 minutes. And that's his body saying, yeah, I could use a little extra salt, thanks. And so each day I give him that opportunity. If he says, no, I don't want it, that means he doesn't need it, because we are hardwired to know when we need to breathe. and to know when our heart needs to pump and to know when we need to go pee. We're also hardwired to know if we need salt. And so if you have a craving for salt, that means you need some salt. And a salt rock is a great way to get that.
Annette wants to know, is MCT oil recommended on carnivore?
Yeah, so MCT oil comes from coconuts, which are not animals. And so if you're going to try to really do carnivore, I don't want to say religiously, but commonsensically, then obviously, coconuts are not animals. So use an animal-based oil like beef tallow, lard, bison tallow, sheep's tallow, goose fat. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Butter or ghee. Yeah, goose fat's good.
Oh gosh, I hate this computer. Renee says, I catch crap for eating so much salt, but I've always craved it since I was a kid. Why do you crave salt?
Because you need salt. Every single cell in your body, and I'm not just talking to Renee here, I'm talking to everybody watching. Every single cell of your body needs salt every single day. And so if your doctor has you on any kind of a salt restriction diet, there's no research to support that. It is foolishness. Even if you have congestive heart failure, there's no research that shows that restricting your salt intake will help you be healthier. It's just a fad that a lot of doctors and dietary institutions have gotten in the habit of saying is healthy. It's not healthy at all. Salt's good for you. That's why we crave it.
Tim wants to know, how do we know if we're truly hungry? And is it possible that our bodies can lie to us?
Yes, it is very possible, Tim. So when you've grown up in Western society and modern society, like most of us have, we've been given all these false cues and told to call them hunger. So many of us think that boredom is hunger. We think that anxiety is hunger. We think that, oh, it's 8 a.m., it's time for breakfast, therefore I'm hungry. Those things are not hungry. And Tim's got a great question, because it can take a minute before you get rid of all the noise in your life and in your diet so that you can actually hear your body when it says you're truly hungry. Same goes for drinking water. People, they're trying to drink a gallon of water a day, carrying their water around with them like some kind of boss. I don't understand that, but they don't even know what true thirst is. They've never experienced it because they're taking a sip of water every 5 minutes, which is not good for you. It's not necessary, completely unneeded. So it does happen, Tim, but it takes a while on keto or carnivore before you're able to go, oh, okay, I'm truly hungry now. It's time to eat.
Also, if you have carb addiction and history of carb addiction, your body will forever want to lie to you. So you have to be very self-aware and realize that, that little voice that's saying, I need to carb up may be lying to you.
Yes.
And you just have to recognize that voice and be like, it's the angel and devil thing, and realize, oh, that's not the good guy talking to me. That's the bad guy. And reorient yourself. And that's something a lot of people will struggle with maybe forever. So you just have to be aware of that.
I totally agree.
Bill says, my wife had pancreatic cancer and had a Whipple. Will keto and I think you meant IF, intermittent fasting, help with enzyme deficiency? She is cancer free.
No, she's going to have to take enzymes because her enzyme production units have been removed. So she's going to need to take enzymes for the rest of her life. Does not mean she cannot still eat the proper human diet, but she's going to have to take the proper mix of enzymes in order to be able to digest her food. The pancreas makes insulin. The pancreas makes glucagon. It does hundreds of things. And it also makes digestive enzymes that help you break up the meat. And so, she's going to have to take a good quality pancreatic enzyme combo mixture for the rest of her life.
Ange wants to know what the best type of exercise is if you're on keto.
Yeah. What would you say to that?
Whatever exercise you enjoy.
That's my wife.
I think any type of exercise is good for you. It's not necessary to lose weight, but it is necessary for overall health. Now, we can both tell you we are not exercise people, but that doesn't mean we don't need to.
And I totally agree with all that. My best advice for you is to just go outside and play. If you see coyotes in the wild, when their belly's full and they've already had their nap, whether they're puppies or whether they're adults, what do? They run around and play. That's what they do. And that's built-in exercise for them. But they're enjoying it. So if you like to ride a bike, get a bike. If you like to swim, figure out how to get access to a pool. If you like to lift weights, 100% go for it. I don't think I think the exercise I would recommend you minimize is chronic cardio. So running on the Stairmaster or the elliptical or the treadmill for an hour, I would don't do that. First of all, nobody likes that. It's boring.
No, some people do.
No, it's not. It's just boring.
Really
They're pretending. They don't really like that. Running, anything further than a half marathon, I think is probably not that ancestrally appropriate.
Well, and it can cause issues with joints.
I just don't think it's appropriate.
Unintended.
But go outside and play vigorously, play hard. Whether you want to play in the gym or the backyard or the bedroom, I'm 100% for it. Go outside and play and have fun. Get sweaty, get out of breath, but don't do it as punishment. Do it as play. Do it as fun. Figure out what you like.
I will make sure and say that weight-bearing activity is going to promote bone health.
Yeah.
And if you're someone like me who has a history, well, on my maternal side, everybody's got osteoporosis really, really bad, and kyphosis and all of that bad stuff. So for me, it's important to do weights because I am really trying not to get osteoporosis, and I do a lot of other things too, but that is really key
100%.
For people who are at risk for osteoporosis.
If you have a family history of osteoporosis, or you've even already been diagnosed with osteopenia, which is the early stages, then you need weight-bearing exercises and you need heel strike exercises. So you need to do jumping jacks, you need to play basketball, you need to be doing things where you have a sudden jump and a sudden impact.
Bouncing up and down on one of those little trampolines, that's really good.
Yeah, any kind of bounce, that's what you want to strengthen your bones. And then lifting weights. And they can literally be 2 gallon jugs full of water. That can be your weights. You do not have to spend any money doing this. Oftentimes my 23-year-old last born child is my weight, and I'll
23 years old, huh?
23 pound, sorry, 23 pound baby. Because I got one that's how old now?
He's 30.
30. I can't throw him up in the air anymore. Me and him can wrestle and like arm wrestle, but I can't pick him up. But yeah, my little one, I throw him up and play with him just like a weight. And you do that too, don't you?
I do my weighted squats. I just hold him and
he
thinks we're playing.
Yeah.
And I'm doing squats.
You are playing.
Yeah. Jesse Stafford in the house.
Stafford.
Me and Jesse Stafford, we go back a long
Say hi to your mom and dad for me.
Yeah, hi to mom and daddy. She wants to know, is Flonase making her sinuses worse? Because she's read both yay and nay opinions. What's your take on Flonase?
Jesse, that's probably not what's making your sinuses worse. It's probably something in your diet that's making your sinuses worse. The thing that used to tear my sinuses and allergies up was low-fat dairy of any kind and grains. When I got all the grains out of my diet and all the low-fat dairy, my allergies literally went away. When's the last time you heard me sneeze?
Yesterday.
Yeah, one time yesterday. And so, but if I were still eating grains and drinking low-fat dairy, I would have sneezed. She would have said, 5 minutes ago, because I literally would be sneezing all day.
Now,
Flonase to use occasionally, I think is fine, but using it every day it may weaken your immune response, but I don't think it's going to make your sinuses worse.
It doesn't have rebound?
Yeah, well, if you stop it, yeah. But now, just while you're using it, I don't think that's what's making your sinuses worse.
Yeah, it's also the smoking.
Yeah,
I hate to call you out.
If you're around any smoking, Jesse, that's going to make your sinuses worse, honey. That is pollution. So,
girl,
yes.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
We love you, but stop smoking.
I used to smoke too. If anyone didn't know, I'm calling myself out too.
She's cussing us right now.
Why am I so sick? Well, you smoked a half pack yesterday, Neisha, so that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one that kind of bridges into what we were just talking about. So just give vaping a try to get off the cigarettes, because I think they are better than cigarettes, honestly. Avery wants to know if you can vape on the carnivore diet.
So I've got a YouTube video about smoking versus vaping. And I actually got a lot of flack about that video, but I still stand by it. Vaping, in my opinion, and I've looked into this quite a bit, vaping is 100 times safer than smoking cigarettes. The vape people would have to go out of their way. They'd have to spend money to put carcinogens in the vape juice to make it as bad as smoking. And why would they spend money to make it not, more unhealthy? So I don't think vaping's healthy. I definitely don't think smoking is healthy. So if you're vaping right now, Avery, I would slowly but surely decrease the nicotine content, slowly but surely decrease the amount of vaping you're doing until you can just stop vaping. Okay. And I'm not saying you have to do that today. I'm first of all, very thankful that you're vaping instead of smoking tobacco, because that is very unhealthy. Vaping's not good for you, but I think you can take longer to wean that down and stop that and not have any long-term health repercussions.
I was trying to see if Jess responded.
Yeah, I'm sure
she said,
did.
"Listen, Linda,
we love you, Jess.
I love you." Steve says, "I'm type 2 diabetic. Been doing keto for 3 months. OMAD A1C is down to 5.2 from 7.
Boom.
But my triglycerides are up to 198 from 126. Why do you think that could be?"
Yeah, and so triglycerides are not elevated by eating a high-fat diet. I just called out the American College of Cardiology on Twitter. I just called them out because they said if you have high triglycerides, you need to eat a very low-fat diet. There's literally no research that supports that. A basic understanding of human physiology will show you, without doubt, that eating too many carbohydrates for you is going to elevate your triglycerides. And so a lot of people on keto, they're like, well, I'm eating keto. I'm like, yeah, but are you still eating too many total carbohydrates for you personally? Because that's what ultimately matters. Now, we know you've drastically reduced your carb intake because look at your beautiful A1C. You completely reversed your type 2 diabetes. But you got to lower them down a little bit more. And you got to eat more fatty meat and fewer carbs. That's going to raise your HDL, which is good. And that's going to lower your triglycerides, which is also good. But it's going to take a little more reduction in the carbs. And then also make sure you fasted for 8 to 12 hours before your next lab draw. Because if you eat before that, your triglycerides are going to go up regardless of what you eat.
Gail says, I'm having cholesterol talk with my doctor soon. She has never heard of keto. Any pointers for talking about this?
Wow. Okay. Gosh, well, where to start with that? I would, gosh, I don't even know. They've never heard of keto. I mean,
that's pretty crazy.
You guys living under the rock? Is that where you live? Wow. I would say for you to watch a couple of my YouTube videos about cholesterol and watch a couple of YouTube videos by Dr. David Diamond. He's a PhD researcher, and he makes it very easy to understand why taking a statin is stupid. And then you will be armed with knowledge so that you can rationally defend yourself. But then I would recommend Dr. David Diamond's videos to your doctor. He's a PhD researcher, so that's not in any way condescending to your doctor. You should say, hey, there's a PhD researcher. He talks all about it. Here's a link to the video. I seem to inflame a lot of doctors for some reason. I don't understand why. I mean, I just wrote a book called Lies My Doctor Told Me. They surely didn't take offense at that. I don't know. But Dr. Diamond's a great resource, and there's several others.
Key Lime Kisses says, Dr. Ken, if you had a family member with cancer, would you suggest keto or carnivore?
Carnivore, without doubt. I would suggest a 0 carbohydrate, very high fat carnivore diet. That's what I would recommend. All cancers love sugar. Okay. There are some cancers that can limp by on ketones or fatty acids, but in order to thrive and metastasize, cancer has to have a source of sugar. And so I would deny that cancer any source of sugar whatsoever. And they would be getting all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fatty acids that they need from a very high-fat ketogenic diet. There's actually a concern in Europe called paleomedicina, which they use a therapeutic high-fat paleo ketogenic diet to actually slow down cancer. And they're researching that right now, and they've had some good success at that. Now, I'm not saying that keto or carnivore cures cancer. Nobody heard me say that because I didn't say that. But cancer loves sugar. There's no doctor or researcher on the planet who can deny that.
If you didn't watch the episode where Dr. Fung and Dr. Berry talked, they talked all about cancer and keto and carnivore and all that stuff. So check that video out. It's on YouTube. And on Facebook, DZ says, please help me. My mother is on dialysis. Is she supposed to not eat much meat?
Yeah. So if your mother, DZ, is already on dialysis, that means that her kidneys have completely shut down and stopped their job as being filters. So she has to go for dialysis, or she does it at home several times a week. So at this point, her kidneys are shot. They're done. And so there's no way that eating meat can hurt her kidneys. See what I'm saying? Her kidneys are done. So I would, absolutely. She needs the nutrition that's in meat. I would not decrease her protein intake at all, as long as that protein was coming from real cuts of fatty meat.
Let's talk about this for just a minute.
Okay.
Michael wants to know, are you still practicing as a doctor and a nurse?
Yeah. So I still have my license, and Neisha still has her license. I have been practicing very limited. I have just a few patients that I'll still do stuff for, but I'm looking for a place in the Nashville area. And we were just talking about this the other night.
Over dinner.
Yeah, over my birthday dinner. Yeah. That we miss it. We really want to start maybe doing a few days a week at a local clinic. And so we're working on that right now, trying to figure out how that's going to work. Yeah, we're excited about that.
So several people asked that today. So that's why I was like, we'll talk about it for just a second. But that's very nice. Thank you, Matt.
What did Matt say?
He said that I am beautiful.
You are.
That's very nice. Just 2 weeks ago, I got called cheap. So that's an improvement.
Cheap from cheap floozy to beautiful.
Okay, so Bobby says alpha gal and keto.
Yep.
How do you do it?
Yeah. And so for a few weeks or a few months until the alpha gal reaction calms down, you will have to avoid red meat, which means there's many, many other kinds of meat that you can eat that will not cause you to have a reaction. If people don't know, certain tick bites can cause you to have an alpha gal reaction, and you'll have anywhere from just a mild reaction to anaphylactic shock if you eat red meat. This is not permanent. It lasts a few weeks or a few months, and then it just kind of peters out and goes away. But between now and when it goes away, you can eat all the seafood you want. You can eat all the white meat, the non-red meat.
Valkyrie at Heart.
Ooh.
Like that name. What's your favorite source of recipes for carnivore?
Yeah.
Well, just this.
Yeah.
We don't really, the way we eat carnivore is very simple.
Yep.
We cook meat and we eat it. We cook it in fat. Sometimes that's beef tallow, sometimes it's bacon grease, and we use salt, sometimes garlic. I use onion, and we just cook it in a skillet and we eat it. Very rarely do we do complicated recipes. It's just
should I tell them
meat and salt.
What I ate today?
Yeah, if you want to gross them out.
I'm very creative in the kitchen. Some people would say very sadistic. So I cooked a bunch of sausage links that were zero carb sausage. And
it was Peterson's.
Peterson's, yeah. Delicious sausage and great ingredients. And then I took some cod liver out of the tin and put it in a bowl. And then I took some liver mousse, which I think is pork liver mousse.
No, it's duck.
Oh, it's duck liver mousse.
Why would I get pork liver mousse?
I don't know. I was guessing. God. And I put 2 raw egg yolks in there. Then I put just a little bit of pico de gallo for flavor. And then I put some zero carb mustard in there. And then I smushed all that up in the bowl. So anybody, your mouth's watering right now, you're like, oh, that sounds delicious. And then I would actually dip my sausage into that thick mustardy goodness. And I would eat that. And that was my carnivore meal today. And I ate till I was completely stuffed. And that was hours ago, and I'm still not hungry. But you don't have to get creative like that. You literally can throw some minced beef or ground beef in a pan in bacon grease, fry it, and eat it.
Yeah, that's just us, though.
I think Maria.
I was fixing to say, if you really want recipes, Maria has a carnivore cookbook.
Maria Emmerich.
Yeah, and you can find it on Amazon or probably on her blog too. But we just don't do complicated stuff. If you watch my What I Eat in a Day vlogs, you can see what we eat exactly. That's on my YouTube channel if you're not subscribed. And it's literally the same thing.
Yep.
Every day.
And our good friends, Sean Baker, Paul Saladino, and Judy Cho, they all have carnivore books.
Judy just came out with
and
one.
Each one of those has recipes. And so if you're a type of person that needs a recipe, then those 3 books and Maria Emmerich's Carnivore Cookbook are great resources.
Really, just check out Judy. We have enough men carnivores, okay?
Right.
Seriously.
We need some women carnivores.
Women. Let's lift the women carnivores up. Go subscribe to her channel. She's fantastic. And didn't you write the foreword for her book?
Mm.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Check out the book. Galvanite Gray. I did low carb for a few years and I had really dry eyes and weird vision problems. Any connection with that, do you think?
You may have a medical condition. Some people with those symptoms do. That you can have an autoimmune condition and you can also have an inflammatory allergic condition to give you those symptoms. More than likely, you just weren't eating enough fat in your diet. The eye is lubricated not by tears, but by oil. You have oil glands on your upper eyelids and your lower eyelids, and they actually keep the moisture. So you have an oily layer on top of the water layer, and the oil keeps the water in. And so if you're not eating a high enough fat diet, you're not going to make enough of those lipids, and then your eyes just continually dehydrate.
Let's see. Is cow's brain okay to eat?
If it comes from an animal that has feet or fins, it is carnivore, 100%. And I actually, where was it? On a beach in Orlando, Florida, I ate sheep's brains that a fellow had brought that were in a margarine bowl, which is hilarious.
They were frozen.
Yeah, they were frozen and fresh, and we ate them with a spoon, and they were delicious. I did not need fava beans or Chianti. They were really, I was surprised at how much I liked it. It was very buttery, very smooth. It wasn't like you like brains. Oh, it's actually quite good.
Linda says, Dr. Barry, you write the books and Neisha can write the recipes.
Yeah, she does a pretty good job with her recipes.
I am not a recipe writer. I just throw things.
She says that, but then she comes up with this great recipe.
But I mean, like, I don't.
But on a daily basis.
I'm just saying, like, Kim Howerton is very scientific with her recipes. Like, she knows how things work, and I just throw things together, and if it works, then woohoo! And if it doesn't, then I just,
Yeah, we're kind of intuitive, idiot savant cookers. We just go in there and throw a bunch of shit together, and then it turns out like, well, that's really good.
People get aggravated because they're like, but how much did you use? And I'm like, it's to taste. I don't know. You put as much garlic as you want in it because I use a lot of garlic. I feel like so much stuff is relative when you write recipes. It's like, you don't have to do it exactly how I do it. And so I feel like it's hard to be like 2 tablespoons because you're going to be like, that's too much garlic. And but it's not for me. I like all the garlic. So T Rose Lover wants to know, so do you not eat vegetables?
I eat almost zero vegetables or other plant foods. Like today, I put a little bit of pico de gallo in my mix just because I love the taste of it. But I find that if I eat too many vegetables, I will start to bloat. I'll start to put on some weight, hold some fluid. And so I found for me personally that I tend to do best on a carnivore, animal-based diet of almost exclusively animal-based foods, meats and other parts of the animal. What about you?
I am animal-based keto. So that means I eat 95 to 97% animal products, meat, eggs, butter, cheese, although I'm trying to limit my dairy because I have Hashimoto's. But then if I feel like having onion on my burger, then I have onion. If I want some pickle, I have some pickle. I keep it open to if I want, like I ate a little broccoli today with a chicken cream cheese casserole thing. And there was like 2 pieces of broccoli in there, but I ate the 2 pieces of broccoli. But for me, unfortunately, because I like veggies, and there's so many people that can eat veggies. Like keto with veggies is still fine. If you're seeing the benefits that you want, keep doing what you're doing. But for us, it seemed like the longer that we did this, the more we saw effects from certain kinds of vegetables. And for him, any kind of vegetables. Sometimes sweeteners affect people. For me, nuts are a real problem. I can't stop eating them right now. I need to get them out of my house because my face is broke out. I have a lot of irritation in my throat, and nuts really, really affect me. And there are plenty of people that use almond flour in a lot of their recipes and do just fine. But for me,
yeah, for me, it's nuts and too much cheese. I freaking love cheese. But if I eat too much cheese, if I use too much heavy cream, and this doesn't apply to butter and ghee because they're just pure fat. But if I eat too many of the, aged cheese or heavy cream that has protein in it, that's a bovine protein source. It causes me to have inflammation and irritation. And so I do best, and I actually my daily weight is better on the scale if I just don't eat cheese at all.
Michael says, thanks for the response. You guys are inspirational. I'm in nursing school right now. Woo!
Yeah, that's great.
Pray for you.
Yeah.
And he loves it, but he can't help but notice the contradictions.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Anybody who's in professional school, every day on social media, I'll have a med student, a nursing student, a dental student reach out to me and go, they're really serious with this stuff. They're really teaching me the following things, blah, 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 blah. Can you believe they're teaching me this as truth? And I'm like, yeah, I can totally believe that. That's why I wrote the book. But I love it that there's so many people in professional school who've seen our videos or read your blog or whatever, and they're like, this is not true. So in nursing school, you should not point out the inconsistency. You should not do that. You should answer the test question like they want them to answer it. But what you should do is when you have graduated and got your license and you are actually in charge of caring for patients, that's when you're going to have your effect on the world, Michael. That's when you're going to say, okay, I have to give you this handout that says that eating a plant-based diet and not eating meat is the best diet for you, but that's horse crap. Don't do that, okay?
Maybe don't do it like that, okay? You want to get fired.
Right, but then you have a duty to your patients, and that's when you can actually have some traction in the world and help people understand their health. But when you're in nursing school or med school or dental school, you just keep your mouth shut and smile and nod and answer the questions they want you to answer them.
Good luck on the NCLEX.
Yeah, study hard.
Oliverio says, what do you think about vegan keto?
Yeah.
I think it's hard.
It's incredibly hard to be in a meaningful state of ketosis while eating all veg. It may be possible for some people with the right metabolism, but I think the majority of people, that's going to be a full-time job, having to eat enough vegetables to get all the nutrition you need without eating meat. And so, for example, eating a 2-ounce serving of beef liver is going to give you the same nutrition as eating 3 or 4 cups of broccoli. And so if you love veg and you want to, eat for 12 solid hours a day, I guess you could do that.
And you need to supplement like out the wazoo.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to do with keto veganism. It has to do with veganism in general. And that is because it's very hard to get nutrients out of vegetables in a way that you're not constantly eating all the time.
100%. Now,
and it's impossible to get B12 from any vegetable.
Yeah, and any of the vegan authorities, if they have any sense whatsoever, they'll tell you to supplement B12, and they will tell you to supplement iodine and all of the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. You can't get those from plants. They don't exist. You can only get a lot of these vitamins from either animals or bacteria. And so if you don't mind taking a supplement that's basically ground up bacteria to get your iodine and your B12, then go ahead. But what I would say is let's be vegetarian instead of being vegan. Let's add eggs, definitely the egg yolks. Let's add some fish or some shellfish or some crustaceans. Let's add some insects. I know, but I'm just saying, if you don't want to eat soft and cuddly mammals, I totally get that. I could totally get how people be like, but it's got a mother and it nursed and it's cute. I get that. I'm not making fun at all. I totally understand that. I think all of us have a line that we won't cross when we're about to eat something, right? So I would never be a cannibal unless I was literally starving to death. So that's a line. I would never eat a primate, a monkey, a gorilla. I would never, because they're just too close to home, right? I would never eat a true porpoise or a dolphin. They're too smart. I probably wouldn't eat a whale unless I was starving. And so that's where my personal line is. But your line doesn't have to be there. Now, if it's got a heartbeat and warm-blooded, and it's not a human or any of those things, I'm going to eat it. But maybe your line's not there. Maybe you're not comfortable with that. But move your line enough so that you've got eggs and seafood and crustaceans and shellfish. You're going to be able to get enough nutrition from that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where's your line? Where do you draw the line?
I don't have a line. I don't, I guess I'll know it when I get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think about that kind of stuff. I eat venison, I eat beef, and if I can kill it, I can gut it, I can clean it, and I can eat
100%.
it. And it doesn't affect me whatsoever. And I still think animals are lovely and they deserve respect.
Yes.
But I also think that God put them here for me to eat. So.
Yeah, and our best human health comes from eating animals. There's no way to deny that.
Kelly Hogan says, save the humans.
Save the humans, yes.
Sun, Moon, and Star says, I have Hashimoto's. How do you treat hair loss? Well, for me, everything changed when I stopped having all the inflammation from eating a paleo diet and the standard American diet, because I did both. And I was vegan as well. So after I changed the way I was eating, everything kind of took care of itself. I didn't supplement with collagen. I didn't supplement with biotin. I didn't do any of that stuff. I ate a lot of protein. That was my main source. And now it is my optimal source of food. And things kind of took over from there. And I was on desiccated thyroid. So you just need to manage your hormones, get your hormones in check, get your inflammation down. And for some people, that may take a lot longer than it took for me. But as you can see, I got a lot of hair. Now, this is where I lost it a lot, was right in here. But when I first got really sick, it was all over. I had a lot of...
You could see your scalp.
Yeah, you could see my
part.
scalp.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any issues with that, except for after I had the baby. And then I had a little bit of postpartum hair loss, and then it came right back. So just take care of your Hashimoto's, and it should come back.
Yeah.
Hormones.
Yeah. And so the way you regulate your hormones that Neisha's talking about is you don't eat things that cause inflammation, and you eat things that are full of all the amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals that your body needs to make all your hormones. And so when you're eating a standard American diet, you're not getting the nutrition you need, but you're getting all this extra omega-6 vegetable oil and all these inflammatory sugars and fructose and other things. So your body's inflamed, and you're not giving your hormone-making glands the building blocks they need to make the hormones. So when you move to real whole food keto or ketovore or carnivore, you're going to stop the inflammation, and you're going to be eating a nutrient dense diet. And that's where healing begins. And Neisha's right. It might take a few weeks or a few years for you to get your symptoms all in check. But I think that you'll be surprised at how much better it gets. What?
I think these are slow tonight because someone just commented insects, and you said that like 10 minutes ago. I think these might be slow. Sorry. Courtney says, what is best for me? I have PCOS. So should I do keto or carnivore?
I think it depends on how quickly you want to reverse your PCOS. And I think it depends on if you're okay with just a meat-only diet. If you are, then 100% go carnivore. And you probably won't have to be carnivore forever. 3 to 6 months of carnivore, then you could probably start to reintroduce keto-friendly veg, and it'd be totally fine. But if you're like, I can't eat an all-meat diet, I got to have some vegetables, then keto.
Yeah, do what's sustainable for you, and that can start out as veg-heavy keto and then end up being meat-heavy keto and then maybe eventually carnivore.
Or anywhere in between.
Anytime you're decreasing your carbs, it's going to bring down that insulin, which is causing a lot of the PCOS issues. So any shift in that direction is going to give you a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
I'm screeching.
You're screeching? I thought you were beautiful. Now you're screeching.
No, I'm screeching. It's okay. All right. He posted a video about that. Okay, Michael says, I'm eating one large carnivore meal a day. Do I need any supplements?
If you're eating liver, I don't think you need any supplements at all. And indeed, there are many carnivores who only eat muscle meat, which, is ribeye, hamburger, stuff like that. And they haven't supplemented in over 10 years, and they feel fine. Is Kelly Hogan, does she take any supplements? I can't remember if she said or not.
I think she's looking into it, but she didn't start off. She just eats beef.
For years, just ate McDonald's hamburger patties. That's what she lived on, and she doesn't have any vitamin or mineral supplement issues. I think what's going on here, because I know we were all taught you've got to have an orange a day for vitamin C, and you've got to have this and this. I think a lot of that was made up science, and I think a lot of that they had preconceived notions of what we needed to eat, and then they tried to slant the research to prove that. There have been people who are carnivores for over 10 years who've never taken a vitamin C supplement, never eaten a piece of fruit or a berry in 10 years, and they don't have scurvy. If you check their vitamin C level, it's right in the middle of normal. And so how's that possible if the only place you can get vitamin C from is from citrus fruit? And if you have to have vitamin C or you'll get scurvy and die, they're being alive and being healthy and having beautiful skin and beautiful teeth. That kind of shoots that theory in the head, doesn't it? So I think a lot more research needs to be done, and a lot of research needs to be redone so we can actually figure out the truth about how much of this vitamin or that vitamin you actually need.
Vibrant Goo says, do you have any thoughts on amoxicillin and clavulante messing with absorption of a high-fat meal? I hear that it does. I had an ear infection that didn't improve for 5 days.
Oh yeah. So now if you have a real infection, so that's amoxicillin clavulante. That's
I don't know. I suck at farm.
Yeah, it's augmentin, right?
I suck at
think
farm.
so. Yeah.
That's why I had reference book.
Yeah, I've got to get back in the clinic. But basically, that's amoxicillin with a second antibiotic that helps potentiate the amoxicillin's action. If you have a true bacterial infection and you're sick, you need antibiotics for a few days. So it's perfectly fine. But augmentin is going to decimate your gut bacteria and the bacteria on your skin and the bacteria in your mouth and in your ears and everywhere else. We're supposed to have bacteria all these places. But when you take a strong antibiotic like augmentin, you're going to just destroy your gut microbiome. And so, yes, you may have some absorption issues for a few weeks until the bacteria grow back into the not only the appropriate numbers of bacteria, but also the appropriate ratios of this bacteria to that bacteria to this bacteria. You've got a perfect ratio in there. And when you hit that, you have wonderful bowel movements and wonderful absorption. But yes, augmentin will mess up your gut for a few days or a few weeks.
Ashley wants to know, she says, as a healthcare provider, how do I help my patients who have Hashimoto's and Graves and can't overcome sweet cravings with no deficiencies noted?
So I would encourage them to use a keto-friendly sweetener and make keto-fied things that remind them of their old diet for now. And that'd be for most patients. That's probably what I would do. Like, we make this with nut flour and heavy cream and egg yolks, and then just put some stevia or some whatever in it. That way you're getting more nutrition and you're getting less carbs. So it's going to be helping and decreasing the inflammation.
Well, I wouldn't recommend
what would you add to that?
I would recommend fat bombs and a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Simply because Hashimoto's and Graves tend to be super sensitive to nuts and almonds like that. And so anything that's going to be high fat with a little sweetener is going to help with their cravings, but then also keep them from having to indulge in something that may still cause them issues that have almond flour in them. But that's just from my Hashimoto's experience.
Yeah.
Come back here, baby.
Come here, baby, and say hi. You guys want to say hi to baby Beckett?
1 minute with baby Beckett, because he is having a real bad day.
Yeah, I think he has gas or something. Baby Beckett. There you are. Come here. Come here.
Baby.
Oh, baby. Hey, show everybody. Hey, turn him around. See if he'll do it.
Oh, baby.
He wants a hug first, then we'll show off.
What do you want him to show?
To show him his star.
Yeah. Wants to show your star to everybody. Where's your star at?
That's your star? There's your star.
Say we love Cap. Yeah.
Captain America.
Woo-hoo.
Can you say hi? Say hi.
Oh.
Hello, baby. Good job. He's going to do good. Oh. Good job, baby.
Good job. Yeah. You say goodbye, Daddy.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks so very much to our Facebook supporters and our patrons on patreon.com. If you want to help us fight chronic disease and have more time and resources to do videos just like this and videos like Neisha does on her YouTube channel and my YouTube channel, then become a Facebook supporter or become a patron on patreon.com. We're not trying to make $1 million from this. We're just trying to have a life and have enough time and resources to help as many people as we possibly can. And you can be part of this journey with us and help us to help more people. Thanks so much to our moderators on our private Facebook page. If you didn't get enough of us tonight, by becoming a Facebook supporter or a patron, you get access to the private Facebook group. And instead of having thousands of people asking questions, we usually have somewhere between 100 and 200 people. So the odds of getting your questions answered in much more detail go sky high in the private Facebook group that we do every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard. So join us there if you want. If you've had enough of us for a week, then I understand that too. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.